I'm ready.
Hello and welcome to Real Health Conversations podcast. I'm your host, Leah Williamson, and I'm with my co-host, Holly Jean. Welcome, Holly.
Hi, Leah. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. And I'm excited for our episode today. This is like one of our first ones of changing things up.
It is. Yeah, that's right. And you're looking all fresh and summery at the moment.
We are experiencing a heat wave here in Oklahoma. So I have not been outside, but I was just on vacation back in California. So I spent some time at the beach and got a little sun-kissed.
Oh, nice. It's winter here. So
opposite from you.
Yeah, that's right. It's winter here. We're just waiting to get through to the warmer weather again. So yeah, be good.
And then we'll be cold.
That's right.
Always opposites.
Always the opposite. Have you been selling any houses lately?
I have. I actually have 2 closings scheduled for next week, and a lot of people out shopping. So even though rates have gone up here, people are still looking to move. People are still looking for more land and to start homesteading, and Oklahoma is the perfect place to do that. So
yeah. Sounds good. We're having, the cost of living is going up, rates are going up here as well. All of that's happening. So it's interesting to see the times that we're living in. Like we've just had the change of government, and we'll just see what's going to be next with everything happening. And I do know that, as the cost of living goes up, it does make it harder and harder for people to be able to source particular foods, or they won't be able to afford particular foods that they've been doing. So maybe in some upcoming episodes, we can talk more about budgeting and doing the best with what you can, and what to do with, like, we've apparently got an egg shortage at the moment. So yeah,
actually that would be good, because I was just having this conversation with another NTP friend yesterday. The same thing. It's like the money is not going as far, like a grocery trip now, not coming home with the same, and we're going to have to start making adjustments. So I think that would be a really good episode. Maybe we can do that as an Instagram live.
Yeah, that would be fun. So we're going to start getting all the changes made to the podcast just a bit slowly over time. So we've been getting everything changed over. So we're hoping soon that our Instagram page will be changed over to Real Health Conversations. But at the moment, you can still find us at Low Carb Conversations. If you want to come over, leave us a comment. If you want to ask any questions, if you've got some ideas for some topics you want us to talk about, you can also send us an email. And you can find all those details on the show notes at lowcarbconversations.com. And we'll let you know as soon as everything gets changed over time.
Yep, we're in the transition period. We're like after a bad haircut, and we're just growing out, and we're all awkward right now.
Like a mullet. That's what I saw. Oklahoma's famous for mullets, aren't they?
They are pretty stellar out here. Yeah.
Nice. We'll see Holly next week sporting one. Yeah. No, business at the front, party at the back. All right. I used to have a mullet back in the day, though. It was supposed to be a short-sided haircut, but yeah, it wasn't really. Didn't turn out that way. It looked like a mullet.
Oh, you'll have to share. I had a faux hawk with sideburns, so we can share bad hair pictures.
Yeah, we'll go through. Have a look. All right. This week we're answering or looking at a forum question. So last week we had Marty Kendall come on, and he talked a bit to us about nutrient density and this particular question, which is, can I eat carrots and beetroot on keto, or are they too high in carbs and sugar? So we got Marty's opinion on that last week. Holly and I wanted to come on and have a little bit more of a deeper chat about it. So before we dive right into it, Holly, how about you talk to us a little bit about how you would answer this question? So I'm your client. I'm coming to you and I'm going to ask you, can I eat carrots and beetroot on keto, or I'm a bit worried they're too high in carbs and sugar?
All right. Well, my first questions back to you before I answer this question is I want to just know, are you just starting keto? Like, how long have you been doing keto? Are you still losing weight? Are you maybe in a plateau at this point? So those are things that I'd want to know first, because maybe if you're just starting out doing keto, you could, if you're just tailoring into it, going a little bit slowly, you can hold on to the carrots. Or if you're just starting out, you might want to be more restrictive. So it just kind of depends on what your approach to starting keto would be. And maybe if you've been doing keto for a while, you are in ketosis, you're still losing weight, it would be a safe time to add in some carrots, or to be able to eat carrots a little bit at a time, not to go crazy, but you could add some carrots to your diet and probably still stay in ketosis. But that would be something that you could play around with to see what works for you and your body. But there's really not a quick and easy yes or no answer there, because it just kind of depends on where you are.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting question. And I looked at some of the responses that people had been replying back, and, all of them are valid responses. I'm not sure if these were just general people. I'm not sure if any of them had any, nutrition background or qualifications, or they were just talking from experience. But a lot of them were like, no, they are too high in carbs and sugar and you should stay away. But that would be your personal experience of that. Some of the other people were saying, maybe you can have, depends how much you want to add in. Maybe you can have a little bit. And I think, Holly, we were talking about like, maybe, what's your why? Do you enjoy eating them? Do you enjoy eating them?
Right. Yeah, that would be my next question, is why are you asking this? Are you asking just because you want to know the answer? Or are you asking because you have a favorite salad recipe that has beets and carrots in it? Because the one thing that we want is for you to be able to make lasting and sustainable changes. And if getting rid of your favorite vegetables, which are carrots and beets, that's not going to be easy for you to adhere to. So you can find ways to work those things into your diet and still be able to enjoy your favorite foods, but also reach your goals.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't even like carrots or beets, or they're not something you eat regularly, then don't worry about it.
Yeah. Well, are you eating them because you feel like they are good for you and you need to include them in your diet? Are you eating them for enjoyment? I mean, like, a lot of these things have to come into play here. Or are you trying to still avoid them because you're trying to avoid anything that could potentially have any carbs or sugar in it? And then that's a whole nother kind of can of worms there, really, isn't it? Because, like, if you are living your life based on the fear of having any carbs or sugar in the diet whatsoever, and you're eliminating vegetables because of it, then I have a little bit of a concern there about that. If you truly eat these foods and they do cause digestive distress, which some people can have, then I feel like you've got something else deeper going on there that you need to uncover. I feel like if you're avoiding them because of a dietary dogma, like could happen, then there's a little bit of concern there. So I think how I would approach this with one of my clients is, both Holly and I work the same way. We have a set of tools in a system called NutriQ, which gives us, the client can go into, fill out their initial interview form with lots of questions, their intake forms, a food and mood journal, which kind of tracks over a few days of what they are eating. So we get a general idea of what an average kind of 3 to 5 days are. And then also we have a list of signs and symptoms that they give answers to, put a number towards, and then that plots out on a graph which determines your health priorities. And so, when working with any client, that's where I would start. And the first thing I would be looking for on their food and mood journal is, are they getting a variety of different different foods? So not even just vegetables. Are they eating a variety of different foods that contain different nutrients in them? And then I'd be starting to look at, or is there a lot of processed food in there? So I'd probably be backing the question right up and saying, are you avoiding eating carrots and beets, but you're eating fried foods? Where's the priority in that? Or are you eating a lot of the keto kind of pre-made packaged foods, which still don't contain, I see a lot of people on forums still eating like the low carb breads, which have you looked at the
Mhm.
ingredient list on some of those low carb breads? We could do a whole episode on that.
Yeah. Yeah, they're pretty concerning sometimes.
So I'd be definitely going back and looking for indicators on their food and mood journal of where they're actually getting any nutrients in. And if they are wanting to eat more protein, are they getting a variety of different proteins and not just eating, say, steak every night, which isn't going to give you the nutrients that you need in your body. Yeah. So, Holly, what would you be looking for when you're going through the client intake forms for someone that's coming to you for maybe, not feeling the greatest and they're wanting to cut out all the carbs and sugars? And yeah, so what would you be looking at there?
Well, if someone came to me looking to cut out carbs and sugars, and they really aren't feeling that great, in addition to looking at their food and mood journal, I'm also going to look at some of their lifestyle factors. How do they sleep? How do they feel upon waking? When are they not feeling their best? And is there any correlation to when they're not feeling their best to what's going on throughout the day? So an indication of maybe not feeling too great or getting sleepy in the afternoons, that's going to tell us a lot about what might be going on with their blood sugar. I will look at caffeine consumption, and any other supplements or stimulants that they might be taking, as well as I might start asking some questions around what their evening routine looks like, especially if sleep is an issue as well.
Definitely. I love that. And I do the same too. We're looking at the whole lifestyle picture, and what's going on there as well. And then looking at, like going back to the nutrients, I'm looking at, we tend to always think about our nutrients in terms of our macronutrients, which are our proteins, carbs, and fats. Like, that's a big one that we always focus on all the time, but we don't pay as much attention to our micronutrients, which are our vitamins and minerals. And so vitamins and minerals, humans can't make, so we must ingest them through our food. So some of the micronutrients that we'll be ingesting are like coming from animal proteins, especially offal, liver, all of those kind of foods that people don't tend to eat very, very regularly. Seafood contains a lot of minerals in it, and people don't tend to eat as much seafood these days. And then vegetables and fruits as well. So mainly the vegetables, I'm looking at making sure that they're eating some of these. So I'm looking for a variety of animal proteins, vegetables, seafood, and on the food and mood journal that I'm looking at there. But also, like you were saying, I'm also looking at, are they having any digestion issues? So they're not absorbing, if they are eating these foods, are they able to absorb and assimilate them through the body? I'm also looking at stress levels, like you were mentioning, because stress can deplete the minerals that they're having. Stress is a big one. And also the age and time of their life as well. So, obviously, someone who is younger is going to need a different kind of set of minerals to someone who's older, someone who's more active, someone who's more sedentary, pregnant people, pregnant women. All of these things can take into consideration as well. And I think one of the biggest ones too is it's like really hard to get nutrients in food these days to the level of what we used to have because of soil depletion and agriculture and farming and things like that. So when, we're very open to bio-individuality. But when people are taking into consideration particular diets these days where it is just eating all protein or it is just eating all plants, I often want to know where they're getting the right micronutrients from for their balance, for their health. So
Yeah, and it really does, and not to say eating all proteins or all plants are necessarily bad. It really just comes down to how you are feeling and why you're choosing to eat this way, and are you getting the nutrients you need? Because getting the nutrients you need is going to look different for different people, as Leah mentioned, depending on your stage of life, your lifestyle, and your individual needs. And so there's really no one right or wrong answer for that, because every person is so different.
that's right. So do you want to talk a little bit about micronutrients now and, you know, why we need them? Like, because people are like going, yeah, okay, we understand what you're looking for, but why are we looking for them?
Yeah, and well, you already kind of touched on, like, everyone is familiar with macronutrients. We know what macros are. Those are our proteins, our fats, and carbs, as you mentioned. But micronutrients aren't really spoken about too often. And micronutrients are what we're talking about usually when we're talking about nutrient dense foods. We want to eat foods that have those micronutrients in them, and we need them in smaller quantities. Where macronutrients are going to make up most of our food, we need micronutrients in smaller quantities. Those are going to be your vitamins, your minerals, but they're going to play an essential role in keeping us healthy because they're involved in numerous biochemical processes. We need them for cell growth, we need them for our immune system function, and they all work synergistically together. So we're going to need certain vitamins and minerals to have proper hormone function, to be able to assimilate fats in our diet, or we're going to need macronutrients, especially fats, to be able to assimilate those micronutrients that are fat soluble. So those are vitamin A, vitamin D, and just going back to carrots. Carrots have a lot of micronutrients in them, but it's best to eat carrots with something with fat in it, because the fats are going to help you absorb the beta carotene in the carrots, which are going to help your body be able to create and assimilate the vitamin A. So micronutrients are very important. And as Leah mentioned as well, it's like our body can't make them, we have to consume them.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like, you know, all the real foods that we have man-made that aren't processed are here for a reason. You know, like they weren't just like, oh, here's a carrot, it does nothing to you. So each of them contain their own nutrients that are important for particular things in the body. So I think back to ancestral days, and when they were more in touch with plant medicine, they would know, oh, I need this particular whatever it is. It wasn't like a carrot in those days, whatever the carrot looked like in those days, because it contains these things. So I know that I need to eat a little bit of this when I see them growing, because this will help with whatever is happening in my body at this particular time. And I need a little bit of this. So it was more of that instinctual knowing and eating of the foods. And I mean, like, you're not going to sit down and eat 5 carrots, right? Are you? I don't know. Like, I wouldn't.
No, not usually. I mean, maybe if you really love carrots, but no, I mean, unless you're talking about like baby carrots, but you're a full size, think of a full size carrot, that's going to turn into a handful of like carrot sticks or something. And that's usually plenty for
Yeah.
people. Like, we're not going to OD on carrots.
And if you're one of those people that really like that crunch factor, and you like, you know, when you're on a keto diet, a lot of people would chow down on nuts and chow down on, you know, maybe chocolate at night, because it gives you that crunch factor. People really like that crunch, and you don't, I guess they're not getting enough of that. Carrot gives you that crunch factor, which can be helpful for some people. It's because a good kind of a food to have, you know, and obviously we don't want to snack too much on a ketogenic diet if that's what your priority is, but it's a good snacking food if you really do need something, because it's going to be tasty, and it's a good vessel for your fat, basically. So carrots are great for carrying fat to your mouth. Guacamole, some, I don't know, dip that you're eating. It's a good vessel for carrying fat to the mouth. So you could look at it that way, and you can, if you just got one carrot, slightly thin it, slightly thin it. Does that make sense? You know what I'm trying to say? Slice it into little thin bits. And you know, it makes good for like if you're eating salad or something like that. So, you know, like there's a great salad that I like that has carrot and beets in it with apple cider vinegar, and you can put some olive oil in there as well. And I just make in Australia we have the Thermomix, and you kind of you just blend it in the Thermomix, and you can put some cilantro or coriander in there, or you could put parsley or mint or whatever things you like, and you just kind of blend it all together, and it makes just a nice little really quick fresh summer salad to have. That's just beets and carrots together. But I'm not sitting down and eating like a massive bowl of it. I'm just having it as a little side with whatever protein that I'm having. I think you know, our veggies make our proteins more exciting. Along with our fats. And carrots, they contain so vitamin A, biotin, vitamin K1, potassium, vitamin B6. So there's lots of different vitamins in there. Like you were talking about before, there's the beta carotene, the alpha carotene, lutein, lycopene, which, you know, lycopene's been one that people talk about a lot lately. That's been helpful for reducing risk of cancer and things like that. And so it's got a lot of different benefits in there. So I don't know, if you like it, just eat it.
Yeah, and I think that if your concern is just getting the micronutrients that are in carrots, just know that you're also going to find those in other vegetables as well. So you can get them in bell peppers. You could also get them in your leafy greens. So there's a lot of carryover and crossover in the micronutrients you're getting in the vegetable family. So you don't have to be solely focused on one or the other. And if you are really truly concerned about carb content, and maybe you are in a plateau or having trouble getting to that next level in your keto diet, then substituting with lower carb content vegetables is perfectly fine. And if you're just concerned about those micronutrients, then you can stay in the same color family, and you're going to get the colors are a good indicator of the micronutrients within the thing. So if you want to skip the carrots, use orange bell peppers.
Yeah, it's a good idea. All right. And then beets. I just wanted to talk quickly a bit about beets, or beetroot as we call it here in Australia. So beets contain folate, manganese, potassium, iron, vitamin C. I often actually will recommend beets to one of my clients who are having trouble with digestion, and, you know, maybe digestion that's causing lack of fat absorption. So if I see a client coming to me and they are eating lots of good healthy fats but are still having digestive issues, I might often recommend that they make a fermented drink called a beet kvass. And it's basically where you get the beets in some water and salt and put it on the counter for a couple of days to let it ferment. And then you just drain the liquid out, and we just put that in the refrigerator. And then before each meal, I get them to have just a little shot glass of the fermented beet juice just to help get their digestion going and help them to absorb the fats that they're about to eat at the meal that they're eating. So I find that's a nice little way of using the benefits of beets to help with digestion. And then you're not eating the whole beet either. So you're not sitting down and if you're worried about the carb content that's inside of a beet. Do you like your beets, Holly?
I love beets. I actually just made a whole tray of roasted beets over the weekend because I absolutely love them. And yeah, I do recommend them a lot as well too, or supplements with beets in them for people with, as you mentioned, gallbladder or digestion issues, because the liver and the gallbladder work together. So women with menstruation problems, hormonal issues, anyone having trouble maybe losing weight, that could all kind of go back to the liver. And the liver produces our bile, which is critical for detoxification. We need the bile to lubricate our intestines, to work with fiber and eliminate constipation. So they really all work together. And so I feel like most people benefit from having some sort of beet substance and form within their diet, because it's not just about carbohydrates. Like, it does so much more than that. And most people need help in digestion when it comes to liver and gallbladder. So I feel like the benefits of adding it into your diet far exceed any drawbacks that there might be.
Yeah, exactly. I agree as well. And we're not talking about canned beetroot here or canned beets either, because they usually can. I don't know if you've ever read the back of a canned beet that's been like on the shelf in the supermarket, but it actually, I'd be surprised if it actually contains beets, but it has lots of food coloring in it, which is ridiculous.
Yes.
And so that is going to be very high in sugar and lots of full of rubbish. And but like fresh whole beets, I love now that you can get just the beets that have been kind of the skin taken off and they're in the pack, and you can just quickly grab them and add them to your salad. That's so handy.
Yep, that makes life so much easier.
Yeah. If you've got an instant pot or a pressure cooker, it's so quick to cook beets in there. Like, you can just get them straight from the farm. And then I even love them just sliced thinly.
Yeah,
raw.
I'll grate them.
Yeah,
A beet over salad.
Yeah. And we're not talking about eating heaps here again. We're just talking about adding a little bit to it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if I already said this in this recording or if this was in our conversation previously, but you really don't need a whole lot of these things to get the nutrients and the benefits of it, especially if you are working on digestion and you're actually absorbing what you eat, because that we do need to have that missing piece there. But I think especially in America, where we are, our conceptions of serving sizes are so distorted, and we really don't need a whole lot. So that's my thought on that.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think too, just just like there is some problems that people can face with the veggies, and beets contain oxalates and they contain FODMAPs, and people do have issues with that. But it's not about the beet. If you're having those problems, it's not about the beet. It's not about the beetroot. It's not about the carrot. It's actually about your digestive system. And there's something deeper going in there. And that's when you really need to be working with a practitioner to help you try and find what that underlying cause is. So it's going back to that gut health that Holly's talking about, your absorption. So, so someone comes to me and says that I can't eat any veggies because they give me all these problems, or anything in particular. Like, even they come to me with anything, I'm going to go a little bit deeper and try and find out what the root cause of that is. And we'll start with working on the digestive system and getting you being able to absorb all these beautiful nutrients so you're not missing out.
Yeah. Who would have thought we could have had this whole long conversation over one simple question of, can I eat carrots and beetroots on keto?
I mean, and that just shows how complicated, or not complicated, but how deep nutrition can go, right? So like, you're asking the surface level question here about whether I can eat a beet or a carrot. But there's so much more to it than just that question. So we need to be looking at all the different areas that impact, and go deeper if we need to. And if it's because the carrot is kicking you out of ketosis, then we want to look a little bit deeper about, how can we build resiliency in the body to help you to be able to eat a carrot without being worried they're going to be kicked out of ketosis when you do.
Right.
Yeah. So there you go. Should you eat carrots and beets? That's entirely up to you.
Up to you and your goals and your current health status.
That's right. So let us know if you found this episode helpful or not. We want to take a little bit deeper dive into some of these questions that people are asking. So, and if you've got a question of your own, let us know. You can hit us up, come over to the Low Carb Conversations podcast page, which is www.lowcarbconversations.com. You'll find all our details on how to get in contact with us there. And then we'll let you know as soon as we're changing that page over to Real Health Conversations as well. Holly, any last thoughts?
No, that's it. We're really looking forward to, in this next phase of the podcast, um, really getting to know our audience and the questions you have and what you're interested in. So please, if you have any comments or feedback or questions you'd like us to address, we are real people. We do answer our emails. We are in our DMs on Instagram. So please reach out. We look forward to connecting.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's the end of today's episode. Our theme music is created by Andrew Bowden and production services are by Kevin Kennedy Spain of Disc of Light Media. Have a great week, everyone.